The thing about these types of chords is they set up great expectations that you have to meet. For example, this chord longs to be carried back to its home base here. It's like a question that has to be answered, or a niggling itch that has to be scratched. And all these rich and slushy chords seek resolution in some other chord. So far, so good, but Wagner had other plans. Wagner is the ultimate tease. He sets up your expectations by using complicated chords, but he's not going to resolve them, or at least not straight away. He delays and he delays until you can bear it no more, and then eventually, if you're lucky, he might. And as his career went on, he got more and more coquettish about these resolutions until, by the end, he'd practically given up on them altogether. Wagner's chords rarely give us the pleasure of resolving. That's because he wants us to remain at the edge of our seats in a state of almost unbearable tension. What Wagner is doing is trying to replicate in music Schopenhauer's view that human nature is driven by desire that can never be satisfied. We can see just quite how subversive and daring Wagner's use of harmony is if we compare it to a piece completed in exactly the same year as The Ring, Verdi's Requiem of 1874. Now, Verdi loves his juicy chords as much as any other romantic composer. In the piece you've just heard sung, for example, he has all of these. But Verdi knows he has to resolve them too, which he does, and it sounds gorgeous because we want him to resolve them too. This one goes to here, this one to here, and so on. By refusing to resolve juicy chords, Wagner left the safe, romantic, Mediterranean world of Verdi behind for good, ushering in a period where music became much more overtly erotic than ever before, but also more psychologically disturbed, more neurotic, more stressed out. Wagner's music had an equivalent impact to the first Impressionist exhibition that was shown in exactly the same year as The Ring was completed, 1874. Just as the Impressionists opened the door to completely abstract art, so Wagner led the way to a kind of abstract music, where all the familiar structures and expectations were to be systematically abandoned. In 1874, creative artists were trying to find new forms of expression that could get beyond the surface and reveal the complex, subtle reality of things. For Wagner, the human mind was the greatest enigma of all, full of mysterious, hidden undercurrents and depths. What Sigmund Freud, a quarter of a century after the Ring cycle was written, would call the subconscious. In the Ring cycle, Wagner preempted Sigmund Freud's revolutionary theories by showing that our basic drives, sex, aggression, the need for affection and so on, are what motivate us at the deepest level. Wagner tackled taboo and controversy head-on. His operas are unabashed in their treatment of sexuality and eroticism, incest, religion, death, and psychological torment. And all this not in the 1960s and 70s, but the 1860s and 70s. Wagner's more interested in extreme states of emotion than in conventional stage action. His characters are there primarily to show us our own basic instincts. Wagner expressed these emotions not just in words, but in pure music. He takes a little nugget of a tune, say the anvil clanking, and he attaches that to the dwarfs and their mining or the blacksmith and his forge whenever that lot come on stage. In The Ring, every character has his or her own signature tune or leitmotif. Here's the famous Valkyrie motif. And here's Hagen, one of the baddies. Now, at its simplest, this technique is the bread and butter of film music. Hero walks on, hero tune. Villain walks on, villain tune. And of course, the heroine. Wagner doesn't use leitmotif just to flag up his characters every time they appear. More subtly, he uses them to show that one character is thinking about another character who isn't on stage, without having to say a line like, "Gosh, I wish the hero would come and save me." At its simplest, heroine thinks of hero, cue hero tune. So now we know what she's thinking. But Wagner's use of leitmotif was a lot more subtle than an early silent movie.